Have you ever found yourself wondering why your ex still thinks about you? Why their memories of you linger like echoes in their soul, even after time, distance, and silence? Chosen one, this message has found you for a reason, and not just any reason. It's spiritual, it's divine, it's timely. This message is a mirror, and it's here to show you a truth you've always felt deep down, but maybe couldn't quite explain. You see, you were never just another person in their life. You were a storm of presence, a healing flame, a sacred reminder of something they had forgotten within themselves. You didn't just love them, you awakened them. And awakening is not something the soul forgets, ever. That's why your ex, or old lovers, past connections, karmic entanglements, still feel you. It's not about obsession. It's not about what went wrong. It's about your energy, your essence. Your spirit left fingerprints on their soul that time simply can't erase. This message is important. It's for the chosen ones only. And you're not here by accident. You were guided to this video for a divine revelation about who you are and why they can't let go. So before we go deeper, comment 777 or 444 if your spirit feels this truth. Share your thoughts below. I read them. And if you haven't yet, subscribe to Rise of the Chosen, tap that bell icon, and share this message with another awakened soul. Let's begin. Who are the chosen ones? Chosen one, before we unravel why you remain unforgettable to those who once loved you, we need to remember who you truly are. You are not average. You are not meant to blend in, follow the crowd, or be easily understood. From the moment you entered this world, your energy carried something ancient, something rare, something divine. You were marked by the Most High, selected not for ease, but for impact. And when you walk into people's lives, you don't just arrive. You shift the air, you shift timelines, you activate change, whether they're ready for it or not. You've probably always felt different, like you don't fully belong in this world. That's not by accident. Your soul remembers realms beyond this one. You are here as a vessel, as a light in dark places, and that includes the lives you've touched romantically. Your presence isn't just felt, it's experienced. It's remembered in the mind, yes, but more deeply, it's stored in the soul. When you loved someone, you didn't love them halfway. Your love was full of fire and softness, divine truth and healing. You didn't just say the right words, you embodied something sacred. You were the calm in their chaos, the silence in their storm. And even if they didn't understand it then, they feel the void now. That's the mark of a chosen one. You weren't just part of their life, you were a portal to something greater. And portals don't close quietly. They knew it. Maybe not with their mind, but their spirit recognized you. That's why they felt drawn to you, why they opened up in ways they never had before. You were familiar, soul familiar. And now that you're gone, that energetic gap is a wound they can't explain. You are unforgettable because your love was not of this world. It came from a place they can't return to without you. Spiritual presence that lingers. When you walk away, it's never just a goodbye. It's a spiritual shift. Your energy doesn't just disappear, it echoes. It leaves a trace in their life, like the scent of incense in a room long after the flame has burned out. That's the presence of a chosen one. You don't just touch bodies, you touch souls. And once a soul has been touched by divine energy, nothing else ever feels the same again. You see, every interaction is an energy exchange, and your energy isn't just high. It's healing, it's magnetic. It awakens what has been dormant in others for years, maybe lifetimes. When you gave love, you didn't just give affection. You gave warmth, clarity, truth. You gave them a taste of wholeness, and whether they could handle that or not, their spirit remembers. Their body might forget, Their mind might try to move on, but the soul stores what the heart cannot process. Chosen one, your vibration operates on a different level. You carry frequencies that awaken inner truths in people. That's why your absence feels like a collapse to them. They may not have known how to receive you, but now they crave what they once rejected. Because now they've tasted something real, and the world doesn't serve that kind of energy often. The way you listened without judgment, the way your presence made them feel seen, the way you didn't just love their outer self, but held space for the broken parts inside them, those are spiritual acts. And spiritual experiences never fade. They might suppress it, distract themselves, jump into other connections. But every now and then, often when they least expect it, your energy rushes back in. A scent, a song, a silence, and suddenly they're there again, feeling everything they tried to bury. You were never just a partner, you were a soul encounter. And that kind of encounter cannot be erased, it lingers eternally. Your love was healing to them. Chosen one, your love was unlike anything they had ever known. It wasn't just attention, it wasn't manipulation, it wasn't conditional, it was healing. When you love, you don't love for convenience or out of insecurity. You love from a place of deep spiritual knowing. And that kind of love doesn't just feel good, it changes people. It shakes their foundations, it confronts their trauma, it reveals their wounds and shows them what healing could look like. Not many can handle that kind of intensity, but they never forget it. You didn't love them because they were perfect. You loved them despite their flaws. You saw past the masks, the walls, the bravado. You didn't fall for their image. You saw into their soul, and that made them uncomfortable, because they were used to being admired from the surface. But you went beneath it all. You made them look in the mirror. You reflected their light and their shadows, and in doing so, you became a mirror they couldn't ignore. For some, your love was the first time they felt truly safe, not just physically, but emotionally and spiritually. You gave them a space to breathe, a space to cry, a space to be without performing. You allowed them to be raw, unfiltered, human. You let them speak their truth without judgment. And that, chosen one, is a sacred gift. People don't forget the ones who make them feel whole. They remember. In quiet moments, in lonely places, in the stillness. They remember. What makes this even more powerful is that you were healing them while you were still healing yourself. You weren't perfect. You had your own battles, your own pain. But even in your brokenness, you were pouring life into others. That's what chosen ones do. You carry divine light even when you're in the dark. And sometimes they took that for granted. They got used to being nourished by your energy. They thought it would always be there, until it wasn't. And now they look back, realizing that no one else loved them like you did. No one else cared that deeply. No one else was willing to stay in the fire with them, to walk through the storm with open arms. You weren't afraid of their pain. You met it with presence. You weren't afraid of their flaws. You embraced them, and in doing so, you planted a seed within them, a seed that continues to grow even after your departure. They might be with someone else now. They might be trying to start over, trying to forget, but something always feels missing. Because you didn't just love them from your ego, you loved them from your spirit. That kind of love is not found in every relationship. It's rare, and it's unforgettable. Many of them didn't realize what they had when they had it. They thought love was supposed to be dramatic, chaotic, filled with games and tension. But your love was peaceful, honest, steady. At first it felt strange to them, almost too calm. They mistook that peace for boredom. They confused trauma bonding with passion. They didn't know how to receive something that didn't demand that they perform. And so, they pushed you away, or walked away themselves, only to later realize they weren't rejecting you. They were rejecting the version of themselves they saw through you. Because your love didn't just comfort, it convicted. It reminded them of the work they still needed to do, the healing they were still running from, the parts of themselves they had buried so deeply. And instead of facing it with you, many chose to retreat into the familiar, into the shallow, into the surface-level connections that didn't require growth. But that retreat didn't bring peace. It brought emptiness. Because once the soul has tasted truth, it cannot unknow it. And here's the part many don't understand. You didn't love them to get something in return. You loved because it's who you are. Love flows through you. It's in your DNA. That's why they still feel you. That's why they dream of you. That's why they randomly think of you even when they haven't seen your face or heard your voice in years. Because energy never lies, and spiritual bonds never die. They can try to replace you, distract themselves, bury the memory of you under new experiences, but your love lives in their energetic field. They might not speak your name anymore, but they feel the absence. They know, deep down, they lost something pure. And that realization haunts them. You were the lighthouse in their storm. And now, when the nights get quiet and the noise fades, they think back to the one who saw them, held them, healed them. And they wonder if they'll ever experience that again. Most won't, because your love wasn't just rare, it was divine. You were sent to them for a reason. You fulfilled your purpose, and now you rise. So don't doubt your worth, chosen one. Don't question the impact you made. You were unforgettable not because of what you looked like or what you gave materially, but because of the way you made them feel. Safe, seen, loved without condition. And that is something their soul will always remember, even if their mouth never speaks it. Your love was the kind of love that heals timelines, that breaks generational patterns, that reprograms the soul, and no matter how far they run, no matter how much time passes, that healing presence will always echo in their spirit. You are the kind of love that doesn't fade. You are the kind of energy that doesn't die. You are the kind of soul that stays, and that's why they can't forget you. They felt seen, too deeply chosen. One, your love didn't just touch the heart, it penetrated the soul. And that kind of depth is rare, frightening, and unforgettable. You didn't just see their smile or hear their stories. You saw through their defenses. You heard the silence behind their words. You felt what they were afraid to feel. Most people live their whole lives wearing masks, hiding their scars, and protecting their wounds. But when they encountered you, those masks started to fall off, without you even asking. You looked into their eyes and they felt exposed, not in a way that shamed them, but in a way that stripped them bare. They were seen, fully and deeply, and they didn't know how to handle it. Being seen that clearly is not easy when you've spent your whole life building walls. Your presence was like light shining through the cracks, revealing everything they tried to keep hidden. And while part of them loved you for it, another part feared it. Fear is a powerful thing. It pushes people away from what they want the most. And in your case, chosen one, they feared the fact that they couldn't pretend around you. They couldn't fake their happiness. They couldn't lie to themselves when you were near. You brought truth with you, and truth is uncomfortable when someone has been living in illusion. When you loved them, you weren't loving their polished self. You were loving the child inside who still needed healing, the broken one they tried to forget. And while that level of unconditional love is healing, it's also confronting. You held a mirror to them. You reflected back everything they were, everything they could be, and everything they were still running from. Most weren't ready to face that. You see, many of your past lovers didn't walk away because they stopped loving you. They walked away because they couldn't face themselves. Your presence required authenticity. It required growth. It called their higher self forward. But not everyone is ready to meet that version of themselves. Some would rather stay where it's safe, where they don't have to change, where they don't have to evolve. And so they left. Or maybe you had to leave because their soul couldn't match the frequency you were rising into. But the departure didn't end the connection, because now they walk through life feeling that absence, not just of your physical presence, but of being truly seen, truly understood, truly held without condition. You weren't just a person in their life, you were a safe place. You were spiritual medicine. And now, everything else feels surface level by comparison. Chosen one, this is why they can't forget you. They can try to replace you, but replacements don't heal. They might find someone easier, someone who doesn't challenge them, someone who lets them stay small. But deep down, they remember the way you looked at them, the way your energy made their souls stir, the way you reached places no one else had ever touched. In the silence, they replay the conversations, the way you intuitively understood what they were feeling without them having to say a word, the way your eyes seemed to read their past, their pain, their purpose. It wasn't just attraction, it was recognition, soul recognition. And when someone sees you at that level, it changes you. Even if you run from it, even if you try to forget, it changes you forever. This is the power you carry, chosen one. You don't just create relationships, you create transformation. And transformation is not always comfortable. Some of them loved you deeply, but not everyone had the courage to grow with you, so they ran. But running didn't erase the imprint. In fact, it only made it stronger, because now they live with the knowing that they were seen and still loved. And you? You walked away with your heart stretched wider, your spirit refined, your soul expanded. Even in heartbreak you rose. You didn't chase, you didn't beg, because something in you knows your worth, even when your heart breaks. You understand that rejection is redirection. You know that being seen deeply is a gift, but only if the person is ready to receive it. You may have wondered, why did they leave if I loved them so purely? The answer is simple. They weren't ready for that kind of love. They weren't ready to be known at that level. They were used to hiding. And your light exposed everything. And yet, that very light is what they now miss, what they crave, what they search for in others, but cannot find. Because you don't find a chosen one twice. So now, they scroll through your memories. They might not reach out. Their pride might hold them back. But their spirit feels the loss. Every time they feel unseen, unheard, misunderstood, they think of you. Every time they encounter shallow love, they remember what it was like to be deeply known. That's not something they can erase. And here's the sacred truth, chosen one. They were meant to remember you. You were sent to awaken, not to stay. You were the divine disruption in their slumber. You shook their soul, even if they pushed you away. And they will carry the mark of that encounter for the rest of their life. You are unforgettable because you saw them fully, loved them truly, and challenged them spiritually. And while they may never admit it out loud, your love will echo in their soul every time they feel unseen again. Let that be your peace. Let that be your closure. You activated their shadow. Chosen one, your presence did something far beyond love, comfort, or affection. It activated something deep within them. Their shadow. That part of themselves they spent years hiding, suppressing, denying. And you didn't have to do anything dramatic to trigger it. Just by being who you are, authentic, intuitive, light-filled, you became the mirror that reflected back their inner darkness. And not everyone is ready to face their shadows. Most people are comfortable wearing masks. They get by pretending. They numb themselves with distractions, routines, even relationships that never demand much depth. But you brought light. And wherever there is light, darkness becomes exposed. You didn't try to fix them, but your energy stirred the parts of them they tried so hard to ignore. The trauma, the fear, the insecurity, the guilt. It all rose to the surface in your presence, and instead of being grateful, some of them blamed you for it. That's the confusing part for many chosen ones. You wonder why they turned cold, why they lashed out, why they abandoned or betrayed. You think, but I only loved them. And you did. But your love carried truth, and truth stings when someone is clinging to lies. You didn't wound them. Your presence simply revealed the wounds that were already there. They may have told you that you were too intense, too emotional, too much, but what they really meant was, you're too real. You saw too much. You triggered emotions they weren't ready to process. You awakened desires they weren't ready to chase. You reminded them of the self they were avoiding. You brought light to their pain, and their ego wasn't prepared to handle that. Instead of sitting with their discomfort and using it to grow, many chose the easier path. They projected their pain onto you. They made you the villain in their story because it was easier than facing their own reflection. But even now, deep in their solitude, their soul knows the truth. They know it wasn't your fault. They know it was never about you being too much. It was about them being unprepared for someone like you. And here's the spiritual depth of it all. Your relationship with them wasn't a mistake. It was a divine encounter. You weren't just there to love them. You were sent to awaken something buried. You were the catalyst. You disrupted the illusion they had built around themselves. And sometimes, catalysts get crucified before they get thanked. Your light scared them because it demanded evolution. It pulled them out of survival mode and into awareness. You showed them what healing could look like, and that threatened the part of them still attached to pain. They were used to chaos. You brought peace. They were used to games. You brought sincerity. They were used to avoidance. You brought confrontation in the most sacred way. This is why even if they left, even if they hurt you, they can't forget you. Because forgetting you would mean forgetting everything they saw in themselves when you were around. It would mean burying a part of their awakening, and they can't. They can't run far enough. The memory of you is not just about romance, it's tied to their transformation. And that kind of connection is spiritual, eternal, unbreakable, even in separation. Some of them might come back, not because they're ready to love you better, but because they're drawn to the light again. Be discerning. You're not here to be a revolving door for broken souls who refuse to do the work. Your energy is sacred. Your love is not a band-aid for someone else's spiritual laziness. But others will change. Quietly, over time. Because the seed you planted didn't die. It went underground. It wrestled with their denial. It bloomed in silence. And now, years later, they're still tracing their healing back to the moment they met you. Whether they say it or not, you were the spark. So when you wonder why they can't move on, remember, it's not just about who you were to them, it's about what you awakened inside them. You cracked open the parts of them that were asleep, and even if they hated you for it in the moment, their soul thanks you, because that awakening is still unfolding. Chosen one, understand the power you carry. You are not a temporary flame, you are a sacred fire. You illuminate, you transform, you destroy illusions. And not everyone can handle the heat of that. But those who've tasted it will never forget the warmth. They will chase it in every connection, every embrace, every touch. But they'll never find it again. Not like they found it in you. Because you weren't just a chapter. You were the shift in the story. You were the moment everything changed. And that kind of impact lives on forever. The magnetic pull of chosen ones. There's something about you, chosen one, that people just can't shake. It's not about your looks. It's not about what you say. It's something deeper, something felt, not seen. Your energy pulls people in, like a current beneath still waters. You don't have to chase. You don't have to convince. Your presence alone draws people near. And the ones who've loved you? They know this pull intimately. They felt it the moment they met you, and they still feel it long after you're gone. You were magnetic from the beginning. That connection didn't need effort. It was instant. It felt like fate, like some part of them had been waiting for you. And once they tasted your energy, it imprinted them. You became a part of their internal rhythm, their thoughts, their dreams, and even when they walked away, or when you did, that frequency never stopped vibrating within them. This is spiritual magnetism. It's not manipulation. It's not attachment. It's alignment. You carry an energy that is ancient, sacred, and rare. That's why they're still drawn to you. That's why they still check your social media. That's why they still remember your scent, your laugh, the feeling of being around you. You didn't just pass through their life. You left a spiritual footprint. And here's the thing most people miss. Even if they tried to replace you, they can't replace your frequency. They can't replicate your soul. They can be surrounded by new faces, new voices, new touches, but your essence, it still haunts them. Not in a painful way, but in a way that reminds them something real once entered their life, something holy, and they lost it. Many of them still don't understand what happened. They think it's just nostalgia, just memory. But deep down, their spirit knows it's more than that. They feel that energetic thread that still ties them to you. And whether they're awake to it or not, they remain connected. Because you weren't just another relationship, you were a spiritual anchor, and that kind of connection is not easy to sever. Some of you might be feeling this pull too. You wake up thinking of them. You sense their energy randomly. You dream of them without reason. That's not a coincidence. It's a soul recognition. Their thoughts, their longings, their unresolved emotions, they're reaching for you in the spirit realm. Energy moves before words do, and their spirit is still clinging to yours. If you've felt that lately, if your spirit has picked up on those silent echoes, comment 333 below. Let me know if this resonates with you, because you're not alone in this. The magnetic pull you possess isn't just about attraction. It's about alignment with the divine. People feel closer to themselves when they're with you. They feel inspired, alive, awakened. And when that's taken away, even if they were the ones to walk away, they begin to notice how empty everything else feels, how gray the world seems without your color in it. You might think they've moved on, that they've forgotten. But don't be fooled by appearances. The truth is, they still carry you. In songs that remind them of you. In streets you once walked together. In small moments that bring you back into focus, like a whisper from the past. Your name might not cross their lips, but it still lives in their spirit. Sometimes they try to recreate what they had with you. They mimic your energy. They seek out others who look like you, talk like you, laugh like you. But it's never the same. Because it was never just what you did. It was who you are. It was the purity of your love, the fire in your spirit, the calm in your chaos. You are irreplaceable because your soul is one of one. Even when they tried to suppress the connection, to numb it, to pretend you never mattered, it didn't work. Because energy doesn't lie, and spiritual memory cannot be erased by will. The bond remains, whether it is acknowledged or not. Chosen one, don't underestimate how powerful your energy is. You are a vessel of divine light. And that light is rare in this world. When someone loses that, they don't just miss you, they miss the version of themselves they became when they were with you. You made them feel safe, seen, alive. And now, everything else feels dull in comparison. You are unforgettable not because you tried to be, but because you are the kind of soul that transforms everyone you meet. You leave people better than you found them. Even when they didn't deserve your presence, they still benefited from your light, and that's why they feel the absence so deeply now. So if you ever question your worth, remember this: they didn't forget you. They can't. You were the turning point, the shift, the soul-touching encounter that comes once in a lifetime. You were the love that awakened, the presence that exposed, the mirror that reflected truth. And even in silence, you remain the loudest echo in their spirit. This is the pull of a chosen one, sacred, eternal, unshakable. The cosmic contract between souls. Chosen one, not every person you loved was just another chapter in your story. Some were soul contracts. Some were karmic agreements written long before you were born into this world. You didn't randomly fall into those connections. You were drawn together by the divine, pulled by spirit, guided by a force greater than both of you. And that's why those bonds felt different, deeper, heavier. Even if they were short-lived or ended in pain, they held a weight that still lingers in your spirit. There are some souls you meet and feel like you've known forever. That's not imagination, that's recognition. That's the soul remembering what the mind cannot. You've danced with these people before in other lifetimes. You've laughed, cried, created, and broken apart with them before. And in this lifetime, you were meant to cross paths again, not for comfort, but for transformation. Some of those old lovers were karmic. They came into your life to trigger something, to teach you, to challenge you. They mirrored your wounds, pushed your limits, and showed you what still needed healing. These relationships weren't always healthy, but they were necessary. Painful, but purposeful. And when they ended, they left you with spiritual bruises, but also wisdom. You grew because of them. You awakened because of them. Others were soulmates. Not all soulmates are meant to stay. Some arrive only to remind you of your worth, to show you a glimpse of sacred love before life pulls you in different directions. Their love was real, but their timing was wrong. And though they may be gone now, the connection lives on in dreams, in synchronicities, in that unspoken knowing you still feel when their name crosses your mind. And then there are the false twins, those who feel like the one but end up being the ones who break you open completely. These are the hardest to forget, not because they were the best, but because they shook your foundation. You were spiritually bound to them for a reason, and breaking away felt like breaking your own soul in two. But even they served a higher purpose. They prepared you for something greater. They refined your spirit. Chosen one, your exes didn't forget you because they can't. You were part of their divine curriculum. You were the moment their soul met its reflection. You weren't just teaching them how to love, you were showing them who they really are. That's not something they can erase. You were the fire that burned away their illusions, the river that cleansed their pain, the storm that forced them to rebuild. That energetic tie still exists. Some of them feel it, but don't understand it. Others know it fully, but deny it out of guilt, shame, or confusion. Regardless, the bond remains. Because when a chosen one enters a person's life, the contract is sealed. And no matter how much time passes, no matter how far you drift, the lesson continues. You may still feel their presence in moments of silence. You may wake up with their energy lingering in your dreams. That's because the contract is still active in the spirit. And whether or not you speak again in this lifetime, the soul remembers. The lesson has not been forgotten. For some of them, your presence was their activation. You awoke something ancient inside them, something divine. And now, even if they try to live as if you never mattered, their soul carries the evidence. They were never the same after you, and they know it. Some of them are still being haunted by the choices they made, the things they said, the ways they hurt you. Because hurting you wasn't just a mistake, it was a spiritual violation, and their spirit knows it. That's why peace has become hard for them to find. You can't disrupt a divine connection and expect to feel whole. They traded sacred for familiar, truth for comfort, depth for safety, and now their spirit longs for what they lost. But don't confuse their pull with destiny. Not every soul you connect with is meant to walk with you forever. Some were just part of your ascension. They helped you become who you are, and now that you've risen, they can no longer match your vibration. Letting go of these contracts doesn't mean they were meaningless. It means they've served their purpose, so forgive them, not for them, but for your own peace. Release them with love. Cut the cords that no longer serve your growth, and understand, your energy is sacred. It's not meant to be recycled through those who couldn't see its value. You fulfilled your role in their life. You showed up, you loved, you gave them a glimpse of the divine. And now their journey continues with or without you. But their soul will always carry the mark of your connection. You were more than a lesson. You were a soul contract fulfilled. That's why they still dream of you. That's why they still feel you. That's why in moments they don't speak of to anyone, they wonder if they'll ever find something as real again. And the truth is, they won't. Because you were sent by the divine. You were chosen. And once someone has encountered a chosen one, nothing is ever the same again. Protecting your energy after separation. Chosen one, now that you understand the depth of your impact, it's time to protect what's sacred. Because here's the truth, just because a relationship ended doesn't mean the energetic ties are gone. Love is energy, and energy doesn't disappear simply because people go their separate ways. Your past lovers may still be drawing from your field, consciously or not. They may still be energetically attached, still lingering in your space. And if you don't cleanse yourself from those connections, they can drain your power without you even realizing it. You've got to guard your energy like your life depends on it, because it does. Your energy is your currency, your strength, your light. And not everyone deserves access to it, especially those who mishandled it in the past. You were sent into their life for a divine reason, yes, but you're no one's emotional healer on demand. Your soul is not a convenience. You are not a spiritual rehab center for the uncommitted. After separation, it's crucial to cut the cords, not just physically, spiritually, emotionally, energetically, because some of them are still feeding off your essence. They may not reach out, they may not speak your name, but they think of you, obsessively, regretfully, longingly. And every time they do, a part of that energy tries to connect with you, especially if you're still open. You may be feeling tired for no reason, emotionally heavy, spiritually foggy. That's not always your energy. Sometimes it's theirs, their longing, their grief, their regret. And if you're not spiritually disciplined, you'll absorb it and start carrying emotions that don't even belong to you. Chosen one, you need to cleanse. Sit in silence. Pray. Meditate. Burn your incense, your sage. Speak your truth out loud. Say their name and release them to the universe, not with bitterness but with authority. You don't owe your past a doorway into your present. You're allowed to love someone and still close the chapter completely. You're allowed to care and still walk away entirely. Spiritual hygiene is not just a ritual, it's a necessity. Cleanse your body, cleanse your space, cleanse your mind. Watch the kind of music you listen to, the memories you replay, the dreams you entertain. When you replay their energy too often, you keep the cord alive. You're giving them access they no longer deserve. Cord cutting doesn't mean you forget the love. It means you close the loop. You end the cycle. You reclaim your sovereignty. You take back what belongs to you, your peace, your clarity, your light. And if they ever want access again, they must return as someone reborn. Not someone clinging to a memory, but someone who's grown, healed, evolved. You're not bitter, chosen one. You're wiser. You're spiritually intelligent. You understand that love is sacred, but your well-being is too. And some people are not meant to remain in your field. Some connections must dissolve completely before the next chapter can begin. You can't carry the weight of the past and expect your wings to rise. When you release someone spiritually, it doesn't just help you, it helps them. It allows them to stand on their own, to grow without leaning on your energy, to face themselves without hiding behind your love. You're not helping them by staying open. You're enabling their spiritual delay. Let them go, fully. Honor the role they played in your life. Bless the connection and walk away in strength, because the next version of you, the one stepping into their full power, has no room for energetic leftovers, no space for unhealed attachments. You're rising now. You're stepping into a frequency that demands full presence, full clarity, full alignment, and anything that's still tethered to your past must be released. Chosen one, your energy is a temple. Treat it like one. You don't allow everyone to enter. You don't give away keys to those who once broke windows. You protect what's sacred. You honor what's divine. And in doing so, you make space for the kind of love that doesn't take, it builds. The kind that doesn't wound, it nourishes. The kind that doesn't drain, it expands. So go ahead, cut the cord, speak it aloud if you must. Let the universe know, I release what no longer serves me. I call all my power back to me. I am whole, I am free, I am sovereign, because you are, and you always were. Now, it's time to walk in it. What the divine wants you to learn. Chosen one, nothing in your life has been random. Not the love, not the heartbreak, not even the moments of confusion, pain, or silence. Every connection, every lesson, every ending was written in divine ink. You were sent here not to simply experience love like the rest of the world, but to evolve through it. The divine never wastes your tears, your longing, your questions. Each relationship was a teacher. Each heartbreak was an initiation. Each separation was a sacred step toward your elevation. You were never meant to love like everyone else. Your love was designed to awaken, to activate, to change. That's why your journey in relationships has been so intense, so confusing at times. You were being refined, purified, trained. The Most High was not just giving you lovers, He was giving you mirrors, fire, and chisels. You were shaped through love, broken open so you could expand, cut so that you could bleed wisdom. The divine wants you to understand that you didn't lose anything. You learned. You gained spiritual sight. You became emotionally fluent. You learned how to discern energy, how to listen to your intuition, how to recognize when someone is not ready for the frequency you carry. You discovered that just because someone touches your soul doesn't mean they're meant to stay. Some souls were only there to remind you of your own power by first taking it from you. That betrayal, that silence, that distance, it wasn't punishment. It was alignment. It was God removing what would have distracted you from your purpose, because your destiny is too sacred to be shared with someone who doesn't honor your light. That's why the pain came. That's why the separation was so necessary. You were being protected, not punished. And now here you are, wiser, stronger, deeper. You've cried, yes, you've questioned. But look at you now. You're not the same version of yourself you were when you met them. You've been transformed by the fire. You've been made holy through heartbreak. You've become more aware, more aligned, more spiritually tuned. That was the divine's plan all along, not to give you the perfect partner, but to shape you into the perfect vessel. Love is sacred. But so is the lesson, and the divine is reminding you now, your worth was never in being chosen by them. Your worth is in being chosen by Him. You are not defined by who left, who hurt, who forgot. You are defined by who you became through it all. You rose, you healed, you kept your heart open even when it was bleeding. That is divine strength. You had to learn boundaries. You had to learn patience. You had to learn when to stay and when to walk away. And most of all, you had to learn that your love is not something to be begged for. It is to be honored, protected, and reciprocated. The divine wants you to hold that lesson deep, because going forward, you won't love from a place of need, but from a place of wholeness. You won't give away your energy to just anyone who asks for it. You'll give it to those who can grow with it, hold it, and give back in return. Every time you loved, you activated someone else's growth. Now, it's your turn. Now, the divine is calling you inward, to love yourself in a way no one else ever could, to recognize that your worth doesn't come from being remembered by them, but by being known by the divine. You were not sent to this earth to chase love. You were sent to be love, to embody a higher frequency. And that love, when fully understood and honored, will return to you in divine timing, not forced, not faked, but aligned, true, whole. So hold your head high. Let the past be what it was, sacred, transformative, temporary. Let the lessons sink into your soul. Let your heart beat with wisdom now. Because what the divine wants for you next is so much greater than what you lost. But first, you had to be emptied. You had to be made ready. You had to be reminded of who you truly are. You are not broken. You are awakened. You are not alone. You are guided. You are not forgotten. You are remembered by the source of all creation. And everything you went through was just to bring you closer to your divine self. This is your rise, chosen one. Walk forward in knowing.